Hey guys, today we're sewing a Yeezy GAP type oversize hoodie. We will create a heavy double-layered hoodie with a sick fit and a special hood. You can find the sewing pattern for the hoodie on my website, the link is in the video description down below, and for the first 20 of you, there's a 20% discount with the code DOUBLE. If you don't want to miss the next sewing tutorials, feel free to subscribe to my channel, and if you like the hoodie, I'm very happy about every thumbs up. In this tutorial, I will be using my normal sewing machine, the Singer HD 6335M, but also my Yuki overlock machine, the MO50EN. If you only have a normal sewing machine, no problem at all. I will explain everything within this framework, and all the parts that I'm sewing with the overlock are just a nice extra.
But what do we actually need to sew the hoodie? Approximately 4 to 5 meters of sweat fabric, a universal sewing needle, a normal sewing foot and an edge sewing foot, an iron, a pair of scissors, a seam ripper, a tape measure, chalk or a colored pencil, thread that matches the color of the fabric, a 2 cm wide elastic band for the 2 wristbands and the waistband, and a safety pin. Once we have all our utensils together, we need to prepare our pattern. To do this, we lay all the A4 pages in front of us in the correct order and cut everything perfectly along the edges. Then we have to glue all the small individual pieces together to make our final pattern pieces using cello tape. Now we can start cutting. For the fabric, I chose a black sweatshirt fabric. I would have liked to use very thick French terry made of 100% cotton, but that's not easy to find. That's why I'm currently working on making the best fabric for sweaters available, but that will take a little while. So now we come to the cutting. The most important element of this hoodie is probably the characteristic hood. There should be no center seam at the front, and the hood is a kind of tube hood. To make this possible, we fold our fabric and place the pattern piece on the fabric fold. This is the closed edge of the folded fabric that you see on the left side. We cut out this hood piece twice. Of course, you can also draw the silhouette. However, I prefer to cut directly along the pattern piece. The kangaroo pocket and the waistband are also placed on the fabric fold. The cuff piece and the center strip for the hood are simply laid on top of the folded fabric. To give the hoodie the right fit, it needs to be heavy. That's why I double the fabric layers of the sleeves and the front and back of the hoodie. So we need a total of 4 sleeves, 2 front pieces and 2 back pieces. The pattern pieces have markings to help you orientate yourself when you're attaching the pieces later. Mark these points on all your fabric pieces. We place these fabric elements left side to left side and secure them all around with clips. Left side to left side because I personally don't like the flow coating on the left side of the fabric against my skin. In the next step, we sew these double pieces together with a stitch length of 4 and a normal straight stitch, staying very close to the edge. Make sure that the corners are sewn together neatly. Always remember to lock the seams at the beginning and end. This means that you first sew a few stitches back and forth between starting the actual seam. Since the double layered elements are now identical on both sides, you should definitely decide on a right and left side for the fabric. Once that's done, we will move on to the kangaroo pocket for the front of the hoodie. First, I will neaten the 2 slanted side edges, which you will later reach into with your hands. If you do not have an overlock machine, you can also check your instruction manual to see what overlock-like stitches your sewing machine has and use them to neaten all the edges in this tutorial where I use the overlock machine. Now we will fold these edges inwards. The corner points show us exactly how far the edge needs to be folded in. Starting from the left, we now sew along the neatened edge with a stitch length of 4 and the needle position on the left. The presser foot glides along the neatened fabric edge with its own edge. Then we iron the slanted sections from the right with an iron. Next, fold the top edge and the 2 bottom side edges in by about 1.5 cm. Mark the center of the bottom edge of the pocket that isn't folded in and place the pocket on the front of the hoodie. Use pins and clips to secure the bottom edge, the 2 short side edges and the top edge. Then, using an edge sewing foot, sew in a U shape from the first short side edge over the bottom edge to the other short side edge, and then the top crosswise edge. The pocket is now finished. We can now place the front and back right sides together and secure the shoulder areas with clips. These are then sewn together and neatened with the overlock. In any case, we can now insert the sleeves. Pay attention to the markings from the beginning. Secure everything nicely right sides together with clips. It should look like this. Then everything is sewn together. I neaten the whole thing again with the overlock. So we take our strips for our wrist cuffs and clip them right sides together to the ends of the sleeves. Then we sew them on with the needle position in the middle. Next, we lay our hoodie with the sleeves sewn on right sides together and clip both outer edges. Make sure that everything is nicely aligned at the intersecting seams. In the next step, sew the sections together and then neaten them with the overlock. This brings us to the waistband. Place the open ends right sides together and sew this short section together. Then secure it right sides together around the bottom of the hoodie with clips. Sew it on with the needle position in the middle. Now we come to the hood. First of all, mark the center of the neckline of the hoodie, both at the front and back. Lay out the two pieces for the first hood in front of you. Everything that follows is done for two individual hoods that will be joined together later. First, we attach the center strip to one side of the hood, right sides together, using clips. Then we do the same on the other side of the hood. This strip is sewn on both sides using a normal straight stitch with a stitch length of 3. You should now have two identical hoods in front of you. Now pay attention. Turn one hood right side out. Place this inside the hood that is still inside out. Align the seams and secure everything with clips. This is the front of the hood, so to speak. This section is also simply sewn together. Next, turn the hoods inside each other so that only the nice right side of the fabric is visible on the inside and outside. Now align the edges that are now lying on top of each other perfectly by moving them back and forth between your fingers. Secure the entire edge of the hood with clips. Then top stitch this section with a stitch length of 4 and the needle position on the left. This allows us to attach the hood to the neckline. We do this right sides together on the inside, as our hoodie is still turned inside out. Use the center back and front as a guide and make sure that the open fabric edges of the hood are facing up. The hood is sewn all around. This section is also finished with the overlock. Now we come to the cuffs. Here we have to work very carefully, so proceed slowly and roughly. For the wrist cuffs, fold over approximately 0.5 centimeters of the strip and place this part exactly on the seam where we previously sewed on the cuff strip. We want to create a tunnel around the edge that is approximately 2.5 to 3 centimeters high, as this is where the 2 centimeter high elastic band will go. To do this, we leave a little space in one place where the strip is not fixed with the needle. Now we sew our fabric tunnel in place. We start on the right side of the open space and end on the left. We carry out the same procedure for the waistband. Proceed just as the roughly there. Of course, it takes a little longer there. For the elastic band length, I wrapped it around my wrist and also used my hip circumference as a guide, marking the desired spot. Always add an extra 2 to 3 centimeters of elastic band and then cut it off. My hip circumference is about 96 centimeters and I cut the elastic band to 76 to 78 centimeters. I wear size L. Now we take a safety pin and thread the elastic band through the cuffs. Once you have gone all the way around, sew both ends of the elastic band together at the previously marked point using a zigzag stitch. Make sure that the elastic band does not twist when threading it through the waistband. Finally, sew up the small open passages. And here is the finished hoodie. The fit is really impressive. The double layers of fabric and the cuffs give it a great look. The unique hood also turned out really clean. The way it runs seamlessly down the middle is really nice.
If you liked the video, then I'm definitely happy about every thumbs up. Feel free to let me know in the comments how you liked the video, and if you got any questions or suggestions, please let me know. See you in the next video. Until then, have fun sewing.